What's going on, YouTube world? This is your guy, Sealz the man. Thank you for coming back on tonight's episode. I'm going to talk about something very controversial tonight. A controversial generalization that has been going around forever, basically. And that is the question, do men value exclusivity in relationships as much as women do? As a lot of y'all know, I created this channel for my two young nieces so that when they become of age, they could always come back here and get advice whenever they wanted to. Almost like a time capsule. But I was thinking about that and the things that young girls and young women will go through, specifically when it comes to young boys and young men, the pressures that they'll face, the temptations that will arise, etc. But then I switched back to me, how I used to think as a young boy, as a young man, how my hormones made me a heat-seeking missile to get a girl, and how my immaturity blocked me from having real relationships as a young man. As I thought about those times of growing pains and just living out adolescence, I realized that a lot of the other young boys around me at that time prioritized the chase of women more than the importance of real bonding with other girls. I started to think about how us as youngins would do anything it took to get a girl, but wouldn't put that same energy into doing whatever it took to get possession of ourselves. So eager to try to undress a girl, but would tremble in fear if someone was to undress our minds and intentions. So as I, an older adult, thought about my younger self and my surroundings at that time, the people who were in those surroundings, those young men who were in those surroundings with me, I realized that there were more girls who valued exclusivity and real relationships more than we did. Now, before I dive into the reasons why the world feels like dudes don't prioritize exclusivity as much as women, let me say, I'm not here to generalize, as generalization is the excuse and language of fools. Neither am I making excuses for these type of dudes, cause y'all know I ain't about none of that. But this is all about exploring human behavior and thought process. My channel is a safe place and a platform for real talk, sharing of experiences and exploring reasons to the ways of men so that I may offer solutions. The things I'm about to talk about in regards to this is important, as my channel is all about understanding the mind of men. So if you like that, make sure you follow, subscribe, and tell me what you think in the comment section below. So let's get to the first mindset of why it is perceived that men do not value exclusivity as much as women. So make sure you stick through this whole video with me. It's going to get interesting. When it comes to men, it is with utmost importance that they be led by an upstanding man. When it comes to men, it is important that there is a healthy male presence in his life. When it comes to men, they can easily be influenced and molded by things they believe will make them more of a man. I remember being easily influenced by things that I wouldn't dare touch today, speak, or even buy now. I used to see the cool dudes in my neighborhood wear baggy clothes that didn't fit them, and I would buy them because I believed that that's what real men wore and that that's what the girls wanted. I used to purposely remember some of the dumbest and most toxic music lyrics because I knew all the cool dudes who were able to recite these lyrics at any given moment, at any given time, got all the girls and all the attention. I bring this example up to say a lot of men are easily influenced by other men if they believe it's the right passage to becoming the man. So what I see and what a lot of you see today are men lacking faith, men void of authentic male mentorship and guidance, and full of false direction because they are becoming the things they believe are cool. It's sad to say, the world would rather broadcast bad, toxic, and destructive things way more than good things, way more than productive things, way more than healthy things. A lot of today's music is about infidelity, not respecting women, not valuing marriages, and a whole other bag of mess. So that is the majority of what a lot of men witness and take in. Knowing how susceptible they are, that is what a lot of men will become, and is happening every single day. What changed me from my ways of being susceptible to the ways of the world was the real introduction of God in my life. God filled my voids so that I didn't feel the need to fill them with self-destructive things. God was and is my leader, and because of that, I became a leader. These men without real leaders do not care about exclusivity with their women and their wives even, because they aren't even exclusive with themselves. It's real sad out here. Before I get to my second point, and make sure you subscribe and click the bell so that when I drop new content and videos, you will be the first to know. Look at that. All right, so let's talk about the key and lock theory. If you're an engineer or into computers, you can compare the key and lock theory to the male and female connectors. If you know, you know. But if you don't know, a male connector is commonly referred to as a plug and has a solid pin for a center conductor. A female connector is commonly referred to as a jack and has a center conductor with a hole in it to accept the male pin. Hopefully you're starting to see where I'm going with this. So the key and the lock theory is similar, with the man being the key and the woman being the lock. This is a visual representation of procreation. The male inserts into the woman just like the key inserts into a lock, just like a male connector inserts into a female connector. Just think about this. Think about the purpose and the movement of a lock and key. A lock is meant to be stationary or meant for one thing. Therefore, it does not move around a lot. A lock is designed to hold down and protect something of importance. It won't be moved around much. The key, on the other hand, is much more mobile and goes anywhere the owner of it goes. The key can travel the world and back and still come back to that lock to insert itself, as that is its purpose and what it's made for. In a way, that key is not obliged to be exclusive with that lock. The loyalty of that key is not fully there unless the owner of the key chooses so. Because keys get cloned every day. Keys get copied every day. People will create multiple copies of keys for security. But guess what? You'll rarely ever hear that be the case for the lock. The lock will be right there. So I hope I haven't confused any of y'all with my explaining of this theory. But if you visualize the man as the key and the woman as the lock, it should make things somewhat easier to comprehend. The other important aspect of this theory is that there is much power in a woman who accepts and lets a man come into her life, insert himself in her, because she has all the power. She has the permission and the last word. This is even shown in nature, as the female species is usually the most powerful because she is the one who either accepts the male's mating call or denies it. It's her decision. Tying this key and lock theory into why a lot of dudes do not value exclusivity as much as women is because the woman has to put exclusivity at the top of her totem pole. She has to prioritize exclusivity for her own safety and well-being, as she is the receiver. Because she is the receiver, she has to be careful with what she lets inside of her, what she lets inside of her world. A man, a key, does not have to worry or think about that as much as women do, because he can stick and move, as the saying goes, without much effort. It takes way more energy and sacrifice to receive than to insert. You are susceptible to way more spirits, health complications, effects as a receiver than one who inserts. And this risk and prioritization of risk is sometimes unknowingly translated into everyday life for some men and women. If you do not have to worry about something as much, then most will not appreciate or value it as much. All right, so keep that in your mentality as I continue with this video. Listen, I hope y'all are into animals as much as me, because if not, y'all gonna get tired of me real quick. I love animals, and because of that, I compare the ways of people a lot to animals. It's funny how similar we are, believe it or not. But I'm going to bring up another situation with animals when it comes to why it seems like a lot of men do not prioritize exclusivity as much as women. And that is the hunter mindset of men versus the procreator mindset of women. Plenty of male animals in the animal kingdom are purely hunters. And I'm not just talking about hunters for food, but hunters for females, companionship, and mating. It's so extreme for some male animals that after they finish mating with the female, he will move on to his next journey. For example, some species of fish, such as the bluegill sunfish, are known for having multiple partners throughout their lives, and known as one of the most unloyal species, along with many birds too. Shoot, you can even look at spiders, specifically the black widow, where her mating males know she will kill them after mating with them, and they still hunt for her encounter. They still chase her. They still chase her mate, even though they know she's going to kill them after. Not saying all animals are the same as humans and should be judged the same, but the similarities can be baffling sometimes. I see those similarities in a lot of dudes, women too, but I only talk about the mindset of guys here, so we're going to stick with that for now. Some men will have the same mentality of hunting for sex, hunting for companionship, putting all their effort and resources into the things and into the quality of their mating to get that one woman they want so bad. With his efforts being placed in those things, he is not worried about sticking to one woman or being exclusive with one woman, because he knows his chances of being accepted or getting to mate with a female is higher than if he just stuck with one woman. To a man who is untrained, undisciplined, will stick his key anywhere he can. A guy who does not value a woman in their relationship, even if they are married, will try to find value elsewhere. Animalistic, huh? But the woman, even going back to the animal kingdom, is usually the one who births the children, stays with the children, raises the children, hunts for the food for the children, and a lot more. One of my favorite examples of this is the polar bear. I challenge you to find a polar bear family, any polar bear family, without the mother. I challenge you. It is super rare because she is always there. The male polar bear is almost never there because after mating, he either leaves or will sometimes even eat the cubs when hunting for food, not knowing that they are his offspring. Women are natural caretakers and procreating is embedded in their DNA. Saying all this to say, procreators will always value exclusivity more than a hunter will. Now, I'll bring this totally back to the human realm, the human world. So I thank you for joining me on my safari expedition. Appreciate you. What I want to get across to you, my beautiful viewer, is that a guy who is spiritually empty, morally broken, selfish, simple-minded, undisciplined, and without faith, and a strong core, thirsty, based on lust and not loyalty, will be more like an animal than a man. There is a reason why God gave mankind dominion over earth and didn't give that power to animals. He gave us clear distinction, yet we act in the ways of the things we have dominion over. We lessen ourselves. As men, we are supposed to have dominion over our decision making, our situations, our emotions, and spiritual well-being. One of the goals of my life is to show men how to reclaim their God-given dominion and not act like the animals we were told to have dominion over. After saying all this, I want y'all to understand this. I am not saying all men aren't trying to be loyal, because that is totally untrue. But I gotta say, I do enjoy diving into the generalizations of society and exploring why they are believed to begin with. This channel is not a place of judgment, as I do not. Men make mistakes, women make mistakes, but this is a channel for seeking understanding, to explore the mind of man. Men lie, women lie, people lie, but one thing that will never be a lie is the truth. And your internet brother Sealz the Man is going to try his best to talk about just that. Thank you for sticking through this whole video, this think piece, and share this to whoever you feel would benefit from this. Peace and blessings. Love y'all. Good night.